Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and today we are talking Afterthoughts after the show, edition 3. So first we're going to talk about Shots Fired and American Crime, and these have been two of my favorite shows of 2017, along with Underground WGN. And both of these shows address like really serious issues in our society, but both are very underrated and underwatched. And it's really interesting when I think about, like with my other recaps, when I'm recapping, like the reality TV shows, my views go way up. But when I recap American Crime and Shots Fired, I'm like in the 20s or the 30s with people that are watching the recap. So I don't know if it's the algorithm of YouTube and which videos they push up to the top, or if it's just that people aren't interested in serious dramas. But if you guys get a chance, well, American Crime ended last week, but you can catch it, on demand and on the app. But Shots Fired has like 3 episodes left, I believe, and this show is so good, I'm telling you. So if you guys get a chance to watch them, go ahead and get caught up on them and support these series. A lot of Black actors are on these shows, and I think you guys would really love it. The writing is phenomenal, directing is phenomenal, and the acting is phenomenal. So go ahead and check these shows out. Like I said, they deal with serious issues that are impacting society today. Shots Fired deals with, the whole police brutality and police shootings, and just take you behind the scenes of what really happens in the community, the police departments, the political front, and they kind of touch on the pipeline to prison and the privatization of prisons. And then with American Crime, they dealt with human trafficking, servitude, and minority workers that are being treated like horribly in this country, by like the produce farmers and stuff like that, where they're getting these undocumented workers, putting them in horrible living conditions and paying them way below minimum wage to do this manual labor that most Americans don't want to do. So that was it for Shots Fired and American Crime. Let's move on to Jocelyn Hernandez and the Love and Hip Hop Baby Delivery Special. So this show was kind of like the Sour Patch Kid for me, because in the beginning we get to meet some of Jocelyn's family, her mom, her brother Kermit, and some other relatives. I think the girlfriend who just had a baby. But it was really nice to see that Jocelyn does have a family, and that they're human people that we can relate to, and that really her struggles are no different than anybody else's struggles. It's just that how she chose to deal with those struggles in life, is what sets her apart from other people. And I think she said her mom had like 6 kids, and she, had to help take care of them. And the brother, who I'm hearing on social media has just taken off on the life of his own, with the popularity of the women thinking that he was really cute and really sexy. But he says that he knows that Jocelyn's going to be a great mom to Bonnie Bella, because she was almost like a second mom to him. And so just hearing those parts of Jocelyn, it just makes her story that much better. And then, after we have the introductions of the family, then we move into this baby shower. So Jocelyn had 2 event planners for her baby shower, like one who was all about the ratchetness, and the other one who was kind of like bringing it back. We don't need strippers and liquor at the baby shower. And so when they had the baby shower, it was just laughable to me. Like, I couldn't even take it serious that this is what Jocelyn really wanted for her baby shower. But it was like over the top. It was more like a party in a nightclub than an actual baby shower. And then that dang old cake with the baby coming out the vagina. Like, that was so nasty and so disgusting to me. And I thought it was sad that, you know, well, I guess a couple other cast members, there were cast members at the party, because I remember them featuring Jock and maybe it was a couple of more people there. Jock is the only one that's standing out to me, but I'm sure there were some others there. And yeah, I can't remember what else happened with that baby shower because it was so stupid. I think I probably flipped the channel to something else. But when I came back, you know, towards the end of the show, you know, we had Jocelyn where she was actually in labor. And I just, newfound respect for Jocelyn, newfound respect for women who actually deliver vaginally, because I have 3 children and they were all delivered through C-sections. The first one was... the first 2 were unscheduled C-sections, but my 3rd daughter was a planned C-section. And I'm telling you, if the law allowed, if you could have a planned C-section, like it was a choice, trust me, that is the way to go. But just seeing her, just in that moment, it was just so tender and so special. And when Jocelyn said that she felt her soul leave her body when the contractions was coming, I was like, girl, I feel you. I really feel you. And so she was trying to have the baby like an underwater birth, but them pains was kicking Jocelyn behind, and she said, take me to the hospital. But I think she was too far along to make it to the regular delivery room, so she did end up having it at the birthing center. And I thought it was sad that Stevie J wasn't there for the actual birth, but then Jocelyn did have a change of heart and called him after the baby was born, because I guess looking at your newborn baby and realizing that you actually created a life kind of changes you in that moment. And so she called Stevie J and he came over, and that scene where he takes off his shirt and lays down in the bed with her and takes the baby and lay the baby on his chest, like that bonding moment. I was like, okay, these people are human. Like, they are really human. They have emotions and feelings just like the rest of us, even though they're on TV acting crazy. And then the last part about Jocelyn was she was the guest host on The Real this past week. And I know she's been on there before, but I think I missed the earlier episodes. But this week I caught all the episodes where Jocelyn was the co-host, and she did a really good job. And I want to give a shout out to her, whoever is her publicist now, her branding team, her stylist. I mean, that look on Jocelyn was just beautiful on, was it the whole week when she had the short hair? But I know she really stood out on Friday when she had that green sweater on and the little short bob haircut. And I just loved her on The Real, and they may need to consider making Jocelyn a permanent host on the show. I don't know if the other ladies would like it, because she is a little overbearing at times. And I know there were times when I was holding my breath, like saying, Jocelyn, please don't say nothing stupid. Please don't embarrass yourself. But she did a really good job, and I think that, you know, that is something they may want to consider. And to be honest, the only reason I even watched last week, The Real last week, was because Jocelyn was going to be on it. Otherwise, I rarely ever tune into that show. I recapped Neffy and Solo Part 1 and Part 2. That was just some crazy drama all over the place. So if you get a chance, check out my recaps of those 2 episodes. The one last week with the son of Tito Jackson and his girlfriend, because I think I thought she was the wife, and then it came out towards the end of the episode that they are not married. And I just didn't understand the whole purpose of them being on there, and I may go back and watch it when I ain't got nothing else to do, but it just seemed very pointless, that episode, and that they were just seeking attention. They weren't really trying to deal with an issue. And I also meant to go back and check, because I know when they were running the credits on the Neffy episode, they were saying that her and Shelby had broken up. And so I wanted to follow up and see if that's true. So if you guys know if they are separated and moving forward with the divorce, leave it in the comments below and let me know that that is taking place, because honestly, I think that that is the best for the both of them. And then that episode last night with the mother and the 6 daughters. I'm going to go back and watch that over again and do the recap. And I hope to have that up either tomorrow or Tuesday morning. And then moving on to Basketball Wives. I don't even know why I'm bothering to mention this because I have tried to watch the show. I think I made it through the first episode. The second episode, I may have gotten through the first 15 minutes, but after that, I just haven't been able to get into that show. And I don't know if it's because it's just so contrived and pointless, or if it's because at some point you're just too old to be acting the way that these women are acting. I don't know what it is, but I did like the part on the first episode where Tammy said that Evelyn had been through 3 professional player associations. I was like, oh, the shade, the shade, the shade. And then I got to thinking about Carl Crawford, you know, who has Evelyn's baby daddy. And went to look back and see what was going on with him, because if you guys remember, he was cut from the Los Angeles Dodgers last June. And I was like, dang, did Carl get picked up by another team? But doesn't look like he's been picked up or that there's much interest in him. And reports are now saying that he's decided to retire, that he's going to take the $20 million remaining on his contract with the Dodgers and go ahead and call it quits for baseball. And I just got to thinking, like, Evelyn, is she like a career killer? Because it seemed like the first guy she was with, his career came to an end. That was the basketball player. We saw what happened with Chad in his career. That just died out, you know, with their marriage. And now Carl, you know, who had like a, not really a great 15-year career in baseball, but he was pretty good. And he made, you know, I think over the entire span of his career, he made like $120-something million. So not bad, you know, for an athlete, but seemed like once he got involved with Evelyn, all that came crashing down. And then I got to wondering, whatever happened to Amy Freeman, who was his girlfriend? Because remember, he was in a relationship with somebody when he met Evelyn, and the 2 of them had 2 kids together. And then, you know, he got Evelyn pregnant and that ended. And I know she sold the house that they had in Arizona, I believe it was, and she won a lawsuit stating that she could keep the proceeds from the sale of that house and she was allowed to move to California. But now that he's no longer playing with the Dodgers, like, where do they live now? Is Amy still in the picture? Is he being a father to both of his kids? Because, you know, if you do a Google search, it's amazing how they like whitewash news stories and people's history. Because if you go and Google Evelyn Lozada, if you Google Amy Freeman or Carl Crawford, it comes up that him and Evelyn are in a relationship and that he only has 1 child, which is Evelyn's child, but we know he has other children from Amy. Wednesday night is going to be the season finale of Underground. And is it me, or does it seem like they are packing a whole lot of drama in these seasons that are only like 8 to 10 episodes long? And I mean, there was a lot going on in Underground and it was a really good season, but I just cannot believe that it is almost over. And then I was wondering, you know, how are they going to wrap things up? Because it just seems like it was a lot of moving parts, but there was never really any conclusions or closure to anything. So now they got to dump all that into this final episode. And then I was wondering, if there is a season 3, like, what will they focus on? Will we continue with the story of Harriet Tubman and them actually freeing other slaves, or will we move into what happened to the slaves after, you know, they went through the Underground Railroad and found their way to freedom? So the things I was thinking about on Underground and, you know, this final episode that's coming up is, number 1, is Rosalie and Noah going to be able to save their relationship now that he, you know, has kind of voiced his opinions about her hiding the pregnancy and, you know, putting her and the baby in danger? And then I was wondering if the little boy, Rosalie's little brother, is he going to pose a problem, you know, when they're trying to escape, you know, since he wants to be back there at the plantation with everybody else. And I was thinking about Bokeem Woodbine and his character, you know, how they did him so dirty with burning his eyes and everything. And so, you know, wondering what is his role going to be in the season finale. And I'm just thinking, like, no matter what movie Bokeem plays in, he just always seems to be the underdog and always loses out. So let's hope that this be one of the movies where he is the victor. But the thing I was wondering about the most was, wouldn't it be creepy crazy if Ernestine and August end up falling in love with each other and he helps them, you know, get the rest of the way on the journey? But then I was thinking, like, she might have to kill him in order to rescue the others or help the others escape. So I don't know how that would work out, but I don't know. August, you know, he's kind of redeeming himself. So I just think that him and Ernestine would be a dynamic duo together. And last, Elizabeth, you know, burning that house down and then running into the fire to save the little boy. I'm like, girl, you got to decide what side of the fence you want to be on. Are you going to be on the liberator side, or are you going to be on the oppression side? And can you straddle the fence? Because she does seem like a really compassionate person, but her anger in this whole situation, you know, losing her husband and everything, is just, I don't know if it's going to be her undoing or not. Then we move on to Greenleaf. So Greenleaf is a show that I do a full recap on, so you can go back and check those out. But I am still in shock by their mid-season finale that took place on Wednesday night. And that brawl between Gigi and Uncle Mike, I did not expect that at all. And so if you watch on tonight, they actually had Greg Allen Williams as one of the guests. And, you know, he's the one that plays Uncle Mike. And so he was talking about, you know, the study and research that he did in order to play the character of Uncle Mike. And he just started telling, you know, some of the stuff that he unearthed. And he got to talking about some website that he found that was about men who are attracted to, you know, young boys, like a pedophile site. And so the host of the show, she was like, you could tell she was getting really uncomfortable about the conversation. And, you know, was trying to bring it back, like, okay, you're kind of getting too weird here, and we don't like the direction that this conversation is going. And I have to admit that I was a little weirded out by what he was talking about, but it just goes to show his passion for the role that he's playing and for his craft as an actor. And then I also had to agree with Iyanla Vanzant, who was also on the show, where she was saying that she doesn't want Uncle Mac to die, that she wants there to be like some type of redemption on his part, as well as punishment, you know, for the crimes that he's done. And so, you know, what do you guys think? Do you want Uncle Mike to just die, or do you want his character to continue on with the show? Because I'm thinking, like, if he just dies, I'm going to be pissed off, because I feel like they drug this storyline out for so long, and then to just have him die, it would be like they just ran out of stuff to talk about, you know, in regards to that storyline. And then I had two predictions on this show, you know, from earlier in the season that seemed to be coming true. And number one is that Aaron was going to turn Kevin out. So we see that the two of them, you know, look like they're getting intimate in the mid-season finale. And then the second part was, I thought that Jacob was going to come out on top and end up being like the senior pastor of Triumph, and then he would be like the rival to his dad. And it didn't really go that far, but it does look like Jacob is going to end up taking over Triumph too, and that's going to be his church, and it's going to be separate from the Triumph One church that's going on. Now, I don't know how he's going to build his congregation or how he plans on building the church itself, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see, you know, how that turns out. And then the last thing that I want to cover is Rebel, because I tried reviewing this show, and I think I did the first 3 episodes, and then I just couldn't take it anymore because the show was so over the top and unrealistic to me. And so a couple of people asked, you know, where were the rest of the recaps? And so I won't be recapping the rest of this show. As a matter of fact, I'm so like not into the show that I've actually forgotten to watch the last 3 episodes. And I think I did catch one. I was flipping channels and started watching, but before I could even complete the episode, I had turned to something else. So my recaps of Rebel have ended. So that's it for this edition of Afterthoughts. A new week of shenanigans, comedy, and inspiring television is upon us. So happy watching and have a great week. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.